Viewers and subscribers, welcome to Beating the Press podcast. Today, we're going to be reviewing the weekend matches. Liverpool nil, Chelsea nil, Arsenal 3, Man U 2. The two big games on the weekend. Joining me today, we have Speedy. Welcome, Speedy.
Big up to the people and big up to the fans and subscribers.
We also have Kerry.
Yes, man. Greetings to the host, subscribers, viewers, listeners. We're back.
Yes, and two big games on the weekend. But first, we're going to start by reviewing, looking at, dissecting, breaking down the Liverpool versus Chelsea. That one ended 0-0. So I'm going to start with your general views and thoughts on the game, Speedy.
If I'm being honest, it was if you're being honest, it was a stalemate. No team really offered much going forward. I thought that introduction of Modric, I think that his pace and what you would call mystery behind him, I think that played into the hands of Chelsea people. I thought that had he been a little bit more clinical, or let's say the occasion was less massive on him, I thought he probably would have put away one of those chances. If I'm
Okay.
being honest, I thought Liverpool was slightly lucky to get a draw from the game based on balance of play. I thought that starting James Milner right back was crazy, as we are overrun quite a few times. I'm quite proud of Klopp for starting Modric. I didn't expect him to do that. I can see that player, he really played well. He's confident. And I think the only reason why Klopp took him off was because he was on a yellow. And, at that point, you don't want to be losing a player.
That's true.
Games. Overall, I thought coming out of the game, I think that Chelsea fans and the Chelsea manager and team overall, they will be more happy with that point as opposed to Liverpool. I think we look lesser team in that aspect, for me, honest. I think the result kind of flatters us.
Well, indeed, it seemed to have been Liverpool which left the more disappointing of the two teams. And as you rightfully say, somewhat rode their luck during the game, was a bit lucky at times to not concede. Yeah, but a point shared. It was a stop-start game, pretty much. It's characteristic of two teams out of form battling for mid-table, supremacy, so to speak, in the mid-table. But Kerry, I'll bring you in at this point. What was your thought on that dull 0-0 draw?
I mean, did we expect any better, to be honest? I think, but we like the atmosphere. I think it was a new derby within the EPL. I don't know if we should get used to it. I think it's the biggest mid-table clash we have been seen in years. However, it could have been in the morning when nobody has to watch that. It was honestly, I'm not going to say disappointing because we did not expect much from it. It went, as I said, stop and start, two teams riddled with injuries, out of form, trying to find a way. I think both teams, and it kind of showed on Saturday, both teams kind of gave off that vibe, like, we know the season in April, that is, of course.
Right.
It's done, right? We don't have much playing for. We don't have top four playing for. We're just trying to get some match fitness, trying to build some team chemistry, time to get some tactics right, things like that. So it played out exactly how we thought. I mean, everyone predicted a 0-0 draw. That's exactly what we got, to be honest. So there was nothing too spectacular to say, oh, well, this happened or that happened. Just one or two glimpses. As we said, I think the Chelsea fans, though, came out happier with the point. I think Klopp didn't seem interested in the game. Salah didn't seem interested in the game either. Potter, what could I say about Potter now? He wanted to give his team an extra push, but right now they don't have the players to give it that push. So stop and start game didn't flow really. not much chances on either end. The passing was extremely horrible. It's the first I've seen two quote-unquote big teams this season demonstrate that poor passing ability, especially in the midfield. Differently though, Jorginho and Thiago, I think they kind of stable the ship a bit in the midfield for both teams. It wasn't that bad of a game from those two players, but apart from that, as I said, could be played 3 o'clock in the morning. We didn't miss anything really.
Got you, got you. But did anything surprise you in relation to team selection and tactics from either manager? So I believe Sugar Belly was looking at Modric starting, but yeah, Potter seemed to
Right,
have had other ideas.
as expected, I didn't expect much to start so soon, but he was the bright spark. He came on in the 55th minute, I think, somewhere around that mark. He came on, he showed why Arsenal wanted him as well. You know, he showed why Arsenal was going after him. He showed why they spent that money. In that little cameo
Cameo.
we got from him, right? He wasn't bad. He wasn't bad. Seems promising. Seems like he came on for roughly 40 minutes and he was probably the best player on the pitch. We could have easily given that. He was the best player on the pitch. And he only played 35 minutes. Nunes did a lot of running as usual. Not much threat from him. Gakpo did a lot of shooting, but none on target from him. Salah seemed like he wished he was rather home with his family. So I don't know. It's not much to say about this picture.
Not much to
We
say
can't the
indeed.
teams though as
Dull
right. They're
affair.
out of form, injury problems. We can't do so much about it though. But I don't want to discredit them because just a bad run for them for this season. Both teams, I believe, will be better, way, way, way better coming in next season. So we expect the next Liverpool Chelsea clash in the next season to be way, way better than this.
But just to bring Speedy in at this point, from a tactical point of view, Speedy, what did you see from both managers for this one? I mean, both teams seem to generally cancel each other out, but tactically, were there any surprises? Did anything stand
Mm,
out?
Tactically, I wouldn't say there are much surprises. I would have assumed that Potter would have probably been thinking that Klopp would have probably started Fabinho instead of Bichetti and Trent instead of Milner. So I think he set up with the thought that there probably would have been a lot of crosses and transition quick counters. But I mean, with Nunes not on the field and Salah being really out of form, I don't think that materialized in the game very well. So I saw Chelsea imposing their playing style a little bit more than Liverpool, or should I say, a little bit than Liverpool would have tried to. I think the pressing from both teams at the same time. So if I'm looking at the tactical side of things, I think that the introduction of Modric was a master plan by Potter. And had he probably had a little experience in the league, probably got a cup game or something like that.
Right, right.
Or maybe if he started the game as Sugar Belly had thought he would, I think he would have been in prime position.
Mm, okay, interesting thought
And
there. Interesting thought.
tactically, Chelsea.
Okay. All right, well, let's pivot a bit now. I mean, enough said about this dull nil-nil draw.
Yes,
Let let
top
let
of the
let
table time now.
yeah, let's move ahead. I mean,
Yes.
Sunday was the day of excitement. Sunday was the day, where Arsenal pretty much came through that test unscathed, getting the better of Manchester United 3-2, with that Nketiah winning goal. So I'm gonna pivot over to Kiri. Talk us through that game. Give us your take on the result and just a general match overview.
The feeling, I don't even want to get into the match yet, Rafa,
Mm,
but just the atmosphere
yes.
surrounding the match. It feels like, oh, I can't even say the match was played at Emirates. It felt like prime Highbury, prime Wagner, prime Fergie, Prime Vieira and Henry, Prime Giggs, everybody scores, everybody coming. That was
Rivalry
the
at its highest.
atmosphere, the rivalry at the highest. And it just shows that Arteta and also Ten Hag has taken to give this rivalry some form of relevancy again. The atmosphere was absolutely buzzing because it was at a peak high that Haaland scored a hat-trick and it seemed like no one really cared because Arsenal, Man U playing.
Big game.
Big game.
Big
Talk
game.
of the weekend. Everyone forgot about Haaland hat-trick in a matter of minutes.
Right.
So just the atmosphere alone building up to the game was an all-time high. We haven't seen this atmosphere maybe close to a decade. Close to a decade, we haven't had this where Arsenal and Man U are somewhat tied to challengers. So the atmosphere alone was extremely, extremely well. And the game lived up to it from the whistle, from the ball was kicked off. The game lived up to the hype. It was an extremely, extremely on the edge game. The referee, I think he had his moments where he made one or two off calls, but the pressure and the atmosphere, I think, at the Emirates got to him. But overall, the game was a wonderful, wonderful thing to watch in contrast to the previous Liverpool-Chelsea game that we discussed. This game was really something else. Arteta tactics was the starting lineups were what we expected, especially from Arsenal.
Right. Arsenal pretty much picked itself. That's a 11 they've
every
been
week.
using all season.
All season, every week. That's what you expect. With Casemiro out, I was a bit surprised with Matty starting ahead of Fred. I thought that Fred would have actually got the nod alongside Eriksen, but
what could have been the thought process there in that particular selection, Speedy? Well, you had mentioned Casemiro being missing in your preview. So in terms of his replacement, what were your thoughts on that?
Initially in my preview, before taking into consideration that Casemiro was missing, I had Man United to win. But having heard that, I then changed my prediction personally because Casemiro is that important. I mean, you can see it in the game. McTominay is horrible. I mean, Eriksen is past it. And I honestly thought that Ten Hag would have used Fred instead. So I'm not quite sure the thinking behind starting McTominay in that game.
Right.
And from the first kick of the game, you could see that Arsenal, I think for the first 3 minutes it was sustained pressure on Man United, like constant going for left to right, back and forth. So, I think that the decision by Ten Hag not to start Fred was detrimental to how the team set up.
Okay. I see. Well, I think maybe he went with the physicality of a McTominay, his height. Maybe he wanted a bit more defensive nuance. So
that is true, but I mean, if you're going to be in a midfield area with technical players, if you're going to say, okay, you're going to put a destroyer in there, the destroyer must have football knowledge or intricacies about the game, and I don't think McTominay has that. I think he's just a box to box. I think, a matter of fact, he plays even better when they try to push him. But when he has defensive responsibility, I think he's very woeful. Positioning on the ball, those things. But I was a poor decision.
So in your view then, Ten Hag blundered with that selection?
Yeah, I think he should have started.
Okay, got you. But Kiri, back over to you though. Looking at both teams and how this game actually played out, who were the standout performers?
Well, for the standout performers, definitely Saka. Definitely Saka. Saka was brilliant. Rashford gave Ben White help. And I'm a Ben White advocate, but Rashford gave Ben White. Yeah, man, Ben Blanco. But Rashford gave him help. We can't go around that. This was probably his first really bad game.
Is that what prompted that early substitution just after halftime?
Definitely.
For his hamstring or something like that.
Yeah, man, he can't keep up. He couldn't keep up with Rashford. But the scoreline of the game didn't give the true reflection of what actually transpired at the Emirates.
Mm.
I
Because
would agree.
Arsenal
I would
had,
agree.
yeah, man, Arsenal had 63 touches in Man U box.
Isn't that a record?
That's a record.
Oh,
63
Wow,
touches in
that's
United
crazy.
box compared to United only having 12 in Arsenal
that
box.
mean Arsenal must have had a XG of over 3.
Right, our XG was
Yeah.
3.25, while United was at 0.6, then it went to 1.
Oh,
But
Yeah.
okay.
right, the first half kind of swung both ways. At some parts, United kind of got into it, but I think who for me had a really standout game under the quiet was Xhaka. Xhaka really had a standout game under the quiet. He was extremely box to box. He broke up the play because if we're honest, Partey was not so much Partey. I don't think if because Casemiro missing kind of, you know, make him take it a bit too simple.
Yeah,
But
we didn't really have a competition
right,
there. Yeah.
there was no
Subtle
competition.
passes
He was
left
the
and right
midfield
and
spot.
stuff like that.
Right. So he just did the basics. Side to side passes. Okay, I'm gonna take the ball off McTominay, take it off Ericsson, distribute it. That's all. Let's skip to the base, stick to the basic. That's all.
Mm.
So but Xhaka completely ran into ruins. He was completely a destroyer there. He even got an assist just to show you that he was working on both ends. Arsenal had
Very good
mhm,
ball across the box too. You know, the weight of pass was perfect for that assist.
trust me, it was, and it shows how much he has grown as a player. And then Arsenal had 25 shots
Wow.
compared to United 6. So I don't
So
want the 3-2 scoreline to let persons believe that, yeah, man, this was,
close.
this was swinging 50-50. It was not swinging 50 any at
Mm.
all, any at all. It was not.
Oh, so technically, from your point of view, then this 3-2 is not a true reflection of how the game actually played out. It was a
No,
dominant
definitely not.
performance by
It
Arsenal,
was
while
it was a
Man U pretty
dominant
much hung
performance
on
by
for
Arsenal.
life. Mm.
And they hung on until the 90th minute, where I must be the first to apologize to Nketiah because I've been giving him hell for the past couple of weeks, but
Mm.
big game, he
Big game,
scored,
big
he brought
performance.
us back in the game at 1-1, and he scored a 90th minute winner. We couldn't ask for more than that. So kudos to him. My apologies to him. I hope he keeps it up. And this shows the level at which Arsenal is at now.
Mm.
Because when Jesus comes back and if Nketiah keeps this up, Jesus has to now fight for that spot.
Right, right.
Jesus won't be expected to just come back and slide into the starting level. And this shows the mentality and the performance that Arsenal is at now, where we have Jesus who could start in almost any other team, has to come and fight for his
Fight for his
position
game.
now. And we saw Trossard come off the bench and he actually had an impact into the third goal. So we saw a cameo from Modric.
Oh, he got
We
that
saw a
hockey
cameo from
pass that
Trossard.
led to that Nketiah winning goal.
That's right. That's right. And he turned a couple defenders a couple times well during the
Mm.
match. So I think we expect something good for Trossard. It's a very good signing from Arteta. I give them that. And we just, for me, no, I think the title chances has actually tilted 50-50 now between Arsenal and Man City. Because we know Man City has that thing where they can go on a 18 game unbeaten run.
I see.
So we can't count them out as it. But I think it's kind of balanced now. Arsenal has a 50% chance of winning the title. So if we weren't believing before, now is the time to believe because they showed yesterday that, listen, we're hungry for this, especially soccer. We're hungry for this. Let's go get it.
But Speedy, I'd like to bring you in at this point. Kiri has spoken at length about Arsenal, but what of the Manchester United performance? Who were some of the key standout players? They did manage to score 2 goals, So how did Manchester United play as a whole?
I mean, for the first half, I think the game was very balanced. I thought they tried to give as much as they got when they settled down after the first 5 to 6 minutes of intensity from Arsenal. I thought Wan-Bissaka gave a good account of himself defensively. We all know he's lacking in quality going forward, but I think that he did well against
But
Martinelli.
he seemed to have been caught sleeping for that first goal, however, where
But we can say this and that, but we can nitpick
mm,
just one thing and say, oh, the player had a horrible game because he stopped a lot of other situations that could have turned into scoring opportunities.
I
So
see,
yeah,
I
they'll
see.
blame him for that. If we can look at the start of that play, we could also blame the midfield.
Mm,
So yeah, a lot of things goes back to that. But I think he had a good game. I thought Martinez played well, also chipped in with a goal.
right, right.
Um, Coach as well. Not every player is going to put their head in that position right there. So
Very
that
underrated
was a
finish.
quality finish. Yeah, very underrated finish from him. I thought that Rashford played okay in some moments, and he
Right.
played excellent in one and two patches, and then sometimes you're wondering if it's an old Rashford.
Plus he
He's
got
a
that opening
very
goal as well.
yeah he's a very interesting player, I'll say. Also, I don't know what David De Gea was doing. I mean that former simulation there, acting like he was dying. We need to cut those things out of the game. I thought that was very shameless from him. Bruno Fernandes. I think it's okay for us to start calling Bruno Fernandes a cheat. I think most games he tries to, make something from a referee, try and, get something from a linesman.
Mm,
I mean, he's just a bad player, in my opinion. Good on the ball, but,
Professional actor,
dirty player.
expert diver.
mm.
Yeah.
Very controversial statements there from Speedy, I guess he called it as he sees it. But just in wrapping up, final thoughts from you, Kiri, and then I'll go across to Speedy to get his final thoughts on these two games from over the weekend.
Well, honestly, Liverpool, Chelsea, we can't emphasize how much of a bore fest it was. I hope genuinely, I hope both teams improve. They're not bad teams. You know that they're not bad coaches either. In We have to look into that they're really suffering with injuries right now.
Okay.
Arsenal, boy, they're flying. What much more can we say about Arsenal? They're flying. They're in the bag. What more can we say? I hope they win, of course, being an Arsenal fan. Manchester United, I think they have actually turned a pretty good page under Ten Hag. I think he needs one more or two more transfers, in my opinion, to get where he wants the club to be. But so
Right.
far, he's doing extremely well. I expect them to finish third. And not a bad match. Honestly, it was one of the best matches we have witnessed for this season. And we see the implications it had on the title race because Arsenal is 5 points ahead of Man City with a game in hand.
Right, right.
So that's a potential 8, but we can't call that as it. So as it is, 5 points. And we also kind of ease the run from Man United because as I told you in the last podcast that I was on, with the Man U Crystal Palace match, that Crystal Palace would have slowed up Man U, which Crystal Palace did. And then Arsenal took 3 points away from them. So they kind of humble the fans because they were getting a bit rogue. So, I know the Man U fans are a bit calmer though.
Yeah.
So just to keep them in their place. I expect them to finish third. No threat I don't think they're any threat to us again. So Arsenal, Man City,
So so
top
that
two going up
so
kind
that
of.
that title quest pretty much lasted 2 days.
I wouldn't even say 2 days. How long was the Man City match? 94 minutes. So Man was in the title race for 94
Mm,
minutes. I mean,
I
come
see,
on,
I
let's be
see.
realistic.
All right, I'll go over to you now, Speedy. Final thoughts on these two games.
I mean, being a Liverpool fan right now is really hard. Um, not really seen much activity in the transfer market. Players don't seem to want to improve. It seems like I don't know if it's finishing behind 4 times over the last 5 seasons. So probably being motivated of the other players. But I really hope we can take this point and we can build on it. We have couple fixtures coming up. I think we have a FA Cup game coming up. I'm not mistaken. So yeah, I hope we can against Brighton. I hope we can correct the wrongs from the league game. That 3-0 loss was probably one of the worst in Liverpool's ups tenure at Liverpool. So I hope we can improve from that. As it relates to Arsenal, but I would say is I've seen a lot of Arsenal fans getting on Martinelli's back. I think it's very unfair and it has a tinge of recency bias. But you know how fans are. I think that if I'm not mistaken, his stats and also his overall gameplay is much better when Jesus is around. And I think he's not getting the right outcome because Nketiah. I mean, some of the chances that Nketiah scores, if you're really being honest, you just have to be there. Not taking away from the fact that he finishes these chances. You just have to be there. I think that Jesus facilitates him going in the middle, going on the left, being more mobile across the front three, as opposed to Nketiah, he'll lead the press, he'll stay stationary. He'll probably drop every now and then. He'll have Martinelli going in behind, trying to pop him. So I think that Arsenal fans should just give him time. But overall, I think that surprisingly, I won't say that they'll win the title just yet. I still need to see if they can, stave off the City 17, 18 game streak that we're doing this time of the year. Once they can do that, I think they'll win the title. These two upcoming matches that they play against each other, I think that will define and determine
title challenge.
I'm looking forward to that. For Man United, I think their process, compared to when Arteta started his process, there is more further along. I don't know if that's down to the quality of Ten Hag or the level of investment that Manchester United has. But I think that Manchester United fans can be proud they gave a good account of themselves. They probably thought that they would have gone down to the Emirates. I think that was crazy for them to think that they would have gone down there and just outplay Arsenal like considering stuff. I think that they should just keep their expectations in check and be proud that their team has improved considering where they were last season.
All right, well, there you have it. I'd just like to thank Speedy and Kiri for joining us on Beating the Press podcast. I'd just like to thank our viewers and subscribers for tuning in. That brings us to the end. I am Rafa, your host, signing off.